Hi everyone, I'm trying to go live in two places at the moment and it's not really working, is it? Okay. Well, it feels weird being off for a little bit longer than normal. It's a little bit nerve-wracking coming back, to be honest. Thank you for your patience and apologies that I couldn't talk last week, which meant that I couldn't do this regular segment. I'm just going to spin this around and hopefully rotate. I don't think I can rotate. Damn, I should have set that up differently to begin with. Okay. So I have had quite a few questions recently in clinic around how to manage things during the festive season. So obviously, oh God, look at this hair. Oh, it's gone a bit crazy, isn't it? I'll just do this, tie it up with a pipe cleaner. Obviously, it's getting to that really busy time of year at the moment, and working out how does your health fit in with all that. So I've had two of the main concerns I've had with people lately are IBS related concerns and weight. People concerned about their weight, and it's not even necessarily about their weight, it's about how they feel within themselves and their relationship with their body and their relationship with their health. And the festive season kind of doesn't help with those things. So I have had quite a few people wondering whether it's the right time to start elimination diets at the moment. Elimination being like the FODMAPs or the RPAH elimination diet, looking for food chemical sensitivities. People's guts seem to flare up at this time of year. So, and you know, you've heard me talk about lots of times before, the 4 pillars of gut health are fibre, fluid, activity and stress. This time of year obviously can be quite stressful for a lot of people, and that can be because it's a busy time of year. There's lots of pressures, lots of family pressure, lots of family stress at this time of year as well, financial stresses, and just people trying to get everything done before the 25th of December. So that stress doesn't just play out in your head. We've got that vagus nerve that connects the head, the heart and the gut that can lead to the stress that you're feeling in your brain being felt in your gut, which means that a lot of people start to try and, like, these symptoms can really flare up and be at their worst at this time of year, meaning that it's often a time that you present to the doctor or the dietitian for further investigations to work out what's going on with your gut health. On the other hand, there's lots of social things and lots of things happening at this time of year that don't really support the introduction of elimination diet. I'm here to tell you that you can do it. So I've had, I think, 3 people just this week beginning elimination diets, 2 for FODMAP, 1 for RPAH. And those people, it's really focusing on being really strict and eliminating for a couple of days, for at least a week. So you get at least a week's free symptoms and then monitoring things from there. If you have things on, there's always ways to work around it. So I'd always talk to people about, can you take your own food to the functions that you have on? Can you choose different food while you're there? So if you're at a restaurant, we can definitely adapt for that. If you're at a friend's house, then you can bring your own food. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, then that's fine. We can work towards making wherever you're going a mini challenge to work out whether this is one of the places that makes you feel that you react. Sorry, I'm still clearing. I'm still got not quite a right voice, so I'm going to keep clearing my throat. So it's not that you have to be absolutely perfect, because life's not perfect. That's not realistic. And working out whether, you know, maybe when you go out to this particular restaurant, if you go there more than once a year, is this somewhere where you normally get symptoms? And if it is, great, because that gives us an idea about, we can find out what's in that food, and that could be one of the triggers for you. One of the other things that we work on, so usually the elimination diets go for 2 to 4, sometimes even 6 weeks of just taking everything out, and then we have to work to challenge things back in. So often there are specific guidelines and protocols that we follow for re-challenging, but often I work with people as well on specific meals that they usually eat and working on their tolerance level for those particular meals. So some people, there's no point in challenging apricots because they never eat them. So we look at what the apricot component is, what's the thing in apricots that you usually react to, and we find other foods that you would normally have that might have those things in them, and then that becomes a more practical way of working out what happens to your gut and what happens with sorbitol, for example. So it's not necessary. This time of year can, as long as you're willing to keep in contact with your dietitian, this time of year can be actually a really helpful time to work out what you're reacting to. Because like I said, a lot of people find that they really only flare up around this time of year. So we add, you're okay normally, we add a bit of stress, and then we realize that, when you're stressed, your body can't really deal with this particular food or this particular food chemical or this particular situation. Now, because we're talking about the stress side of it, we need to address the mind. And this is why hypno works really, really well. Because we get to the unconscious way of thinking and the unconscious thoughts. So if you are reacting at this time of year, what's going on for you? Try and have a think back to the very first time that you felt this way, that you had this, that you remember having this gut reaction, and write down some notes on the things you remember and the things you were feeling. Not necessarily what you were eating, because what you were eating was probably just the trigger to say, hey, stop, something needs to stop. Because what you were eating is going to send you to the bathroom or send you to the pain center, but it's not necessarily the reason that you got there. This is what I do when I work with people incorporating the diet and the hypno side of things. Because it helps us to uncover the unconscious stuff. It's very easy to say, I ate this and this happened. But what happened before you ate that? What were you feeling? What were you thinking? What were you doing that was setting the scene and setting the environment for you not to be able to tolerate that food when sometimes you would normally be able to have it? That's how working with the unconscious mind works, and that's how working with me is different to working with somebody who just works on elimination reintroduction. And then we can go in and address the root cause of why these things are causing a problem and incorporate while we're working with the dietary stuff as well. The other thing I wanted to touch on was, because this time of year always brings up lots of triggers for people when they are, particularly if you're in Melbourne today, the sun's amazing. Changing, we start to wear different clothes now. We start to be going out and being more social. And this can be quite triggering for some people because, one, they're worried about the festive season and overeating and how they would normally exercise or eat can change at this time of year. And then that can also lead to differences in how we feel about ourselves and our bodies, and our health, and the relationship that we have with ourselves and our health and our body. I guess I wanted to touch on this because, again, this is something else that comes up quite often. And often I'll get people coming in around this time of year saying, I'm sick of feeling this way, I'm sick of feeling overweight, I'm sick of feeling that I just can't stop myself eating. And the overeating, and that it's realistically the sense of body dysmorphia, the relationship that people have with themselves about food, and the relationship that they have with themselves about their body. So obviously from a dietitian perspective, I can definitely help people work on what they're eating and how to get the best out of their diet and how to nourish their bodies best. But if you still have this drive to not be able to manage how much you eat, or if you're looking at food, or if you're using food as a way of managing your stress or managing your emotions, again, this is a really common time for this problem to come up, which is why I run I think I'm actually going to change the name of this program, because I don't want it to be focused on weight. I really want it to be focused on promoting body positivity and promoting a better relationship with yourself and with food, and with your body, which is what the program I offer actually does. It helps to work on how you feel about what you're eating and how you feel about what makes you make choices about food, similar to what happens when we're assessing or analysing what goes on with the gut health stuff and what you were thinking and feeling and doing just before you got the symptom from reacting to that food. We do the same with just before you get the feeling about overeating or numbing out. Because they're similar, again, looking at the root cause of why that's happening. So what leads to you overeating? What leads to you making a choice that you didn't want to make about food? Or what leads to those things? What's the root cause of those problems? I'm going to talk a little bit more about this over the next week, because that course it was due to start last week, but my throat stopped me. But I'm going to try and jump on here. I'm hoping for daily leading up to the beginning of this course, because I really feel that there's a lot of value in it for a lot of people who have this it's almost a fear around food and a fear around what food can do to them, or what's going to happen if they overeat, or I couldn't possibly let myself try and have that food or that drink or whatever it might be, because of the fear of overeating and losing control. Or on the flip side, people doing it regularly so that they can numb out and not have to feel what they were feeling, and have the either emotional or physical pain that comes up around that food or that particular behaviour of eating. So I hope this was helpful. Bit different being on here on a Sunday. I hope everyone has a great weekend, and if you're in Melbourne, I hope you're enjoying the sunshine. And I will see you a little bit more often this week. Bye. Happy Sunday.